Welcome back to another daily walk. First, I apologize for the cicadas in the background. There is literally nowhere I can go in my town without cicadas. So, oh well, we'll just have to deal with the background noise. Well, today I want to talk about the new newsletter from Moody Church because it is so timely. In fact, in very serendipitous moment, I usually record these videos way in advance, Friday or Saturday. I was away all weekend. And yesterday I didn't get the chance, and so I was going to do something else which wasn't quite as exciting, and then I checked the mail before coming here, and that's why the daily walk's getting up late. My apologies. But I got this newsletter in the mail, and it is The Lie Among Us from Moody Church Media. And this was very good because it's talking about what is the lie among us. Well, it's the entire flipping upside down of our culture right now. Everything that is going on, that to literally live a peaceful and decent life is considered hate by most places. If I sit down and say, well, I happen to be born with XY chromosomes and therefore have protrusions on my body, I am a male, that is considered transphobic. Despite scientifically, these guys, it's all about the science. Scientifically, a genotype and a phenotype, something you learn in basic biology, will suggest that if you have a random specimen, here's the genetics, here is the physical specimen, is this a male or is this a female? Biology says this is a male. Yet we have whole swaths of society that suggest, whoa, well, if I think I'm really a female, I'm a female, despite every bit of scientific evidence pointing otherwise. Well, that is part, just not all, just part of the lie. Part of the lie suggests, I think that people should have a consensual, pure, committed marriage relationship, one man, one woman. Ever notice there's a meme I have, somebody sent me, and people was yelling and screaming, we should have 50% representation, or half women, and all the different races represented. Yet you come up and say a child should be raised by a male and a female, and that's hate. Whole world blows up. That's the type of stuff we're talking about, because everything has been twisted into one giant lie. So he talks in this newsletter, he talks about all of these different things that are becoming a lie. I mean, and it's everything. We can just go into so much. We talked last Thursday about the police pretty much ignored the fact that a bunch of Antifa were throwing flash bombs into groups of children at a church meeting. And nobody, I've only seen one group even cover that story. It was a non-Christian guy who just covers weird Antifa stuff from Portland and Seattle. Interesting. We're not even seeing mainstream people talk about this kind of stuff anymore. But he talks about what is the lie. He says it entered the world when the serpent made this promise to Adam and Eve, Genesis 3:5, you will be like God, knowing good and evil. And that really is the foundation of the lie. We think that we have trumped nature and God and everything else. We can produce the most perfect food, right? We can't eat animals anymore, despite that's what God gave us. Genesis 8, I think, when Noah leaves the ark, I give you all of the animals to eat. FYI, that wasn't specifically, explicitly given prior to that, but we can talk about what the complications and different merits of that, but that is that explicit command that God has given us the animals to eat, and there's whole groups right now saying, oh, no, we need to stop eating. Bill Gates comes out. We need to stop eating meat. If you're in a civilized world, because we can scientifically engineer our food. Okay, Pepsi Company has, I think it's Fairlife milk, I think it's what it's called. Avoid that crap. Milk that stays fresh in the refrigerator for over a month is problematic. Okay, they have taken the milk, they have pulled it all apart, and they say, we're going to take out the bad stuff. What's all the bad stuff? Well, all the good stuff for you, of course. And then they put it back together in the perfect, scientifically engineered, it's like Soylent. And now a company is coming out called Soylent, and we completely ignore the fact that this company, this dystopic movie called Soylent Green, where Soylent was the scientifically manufactured food. How long before Soylent Green is actually a thing? I mean, we can't let anything go to waste. But we know better than God. We know better than nature. And so he goes on here, when Adam and Eve sinned, the quest for the Godhead began. God was soon replaced by man. Self-worship began its destructive journey throughout the history of the world, and it's most clearly defended in Western culture. Here in America, it is our religion. And this is a lie is welded into political power in a way that is unique to history. The t-shirt says it all. Just worship me and we'll get along fine, he says. And this is really true. This is really where he's going, what he's talking about. And he's really talking about how, here's another quote that he has. The lie empowers people to say, I'm a boy at home, but in school I identify as a girl. Or I'm a man having a baby. I mean, think about that. Babylon Bee had this perfect. Scientists are noticing a very troubling rate of infertility among trans women, Because men really can't have babies, despite what Google says. Go to google.com. You should not be using Google, by the way. Use StartPage or DuckDuckGo. But you go to google.com where they do the autofill and type men can. One of the first things they'll give you is have babies. Lactate. Literally everything in that list is something men can't actually do. Just enough FYI. It goes on, since I determine good from evil, though others can be racist or bigoted, I remain innocent. Furthermore, I have the right to say that others don't have worthy opinions. They only have phobias. They're homophobic or xenophobic or Islamophobic, but I'm free from such evils. Don't tell me I should believe I am the master of my fate and I am the captain of my soul. And that is the ultimate lie that we have in our world right now. That is the lie. And so, I'm going to pronounce this name wrong. Scholzeitzen is a brave writer who exposed communism. He says, today's world has reached a stage that if it had been described to preceding centuries, they would have called forth with the cry, this is the apocalypse. And indeed, that is where we find ourselves. Moody, Lutzer finishes here. This is Erwin Lutzer. The apocalypse has arrived, riding on the back of exaltation of self to the exclusion of God. The serpent's promise in Eden is closer to fulfillment than we could have imagined. Only we as Christians have a message that exposes the delusions of self-worship, the exaltation of the self, and the dethronement of God. If we do not speak to this culture, no one else will. Amen to that. Now, the next page, he talks about the lies of the culture, and he has a sermon here that you can probably find this for free. It's called What Faithfulness Requires. This is just kind of a little brief advertisement for it. Again, you can get all his stuff for free online, so this isn't like a pay us more money type thing. And just head on over to their website. I think it's moodychurchmedia.com. If I can find the link to this, it may not be available yet. If I can find this, though, I'll put it in the description here, whether you're listening or watching. But he talks about three elements of the three key elements of today's cultural lies. He says, now he'll talk, reap the benefits when you request a copy of Pastor Lutzer's powerful presentation, What Faithfulness Requires in the Collapsing Culture. His trademark, clear, and readily applicable style of teaching, Pastor identifies three critical movements where the false narratives of cultural radicals have huge impact to seek to destroy the foundations. These are the three. Collective demonization. We see this everywhere. The collective demonization is lumping those together who oppose the lies of the culture and labeling them as people who are dangerous and must be silenced. There are no arguments or discussions to determine the truthfulness of ideas that don't fit in. Okay? I'll remind you, I think it was it Rand Paul, I think? Or was it Ted Cruz? I forget. Whichever one of those. I don't follow politics as much as I probably should. Actual, licensed, practicing medical doctor and a duly elected politician was banned from YouTube for talking about scientific studies regarding the coof. That's how dangerous of a world we're in right now. But we wanted to collectively lump those together. Department of Homeland Security this week come out and said if you have problems with mask mandates and vaccine mandates, you are now a terrorist. I gotta start looking over my shoulder, apparently. Race. The prevailing lie is that everything must be determined by race with the intention of making us feel guilty for being Americans. This collective guilt can be demoralizing and distract from the walk of the Lord. And finally, sexuality. We are seeing today that this sexual deviancy wants to dominate, not merely coexist. Well, this is a critical area for believers to think biblically about because too often in the church we have a false view of love. Paul taught in 1 Timothy 3, 1 through 5, that love can be evil when people become lovers of ourselves and lovers of God rather than, lovers of self and lovers of pleasure rather than be lovers of God. All right. And so this is very important because so many churches now, they will set every form of heresy loose in the church as long as it's all about love. I cannot come against the gay piano player because that would not be loving. No, it is absolutely loving, because to let him walk in his sin, you are damning his soul to hell. To walk in his sin, you are damning his soul to hell. Love stands up and says, no, I am not the one who makes the final determination. I'm just reading from the book that does. That's important. Now, he has a Q&A section here. We're going to skip over that for now because we're already over time. But if you're not on Pastor Lutzer's Moody Church Media newsletter, you should definitely get on that. You can just head on over there, and they'll send you that newsletter once a month. And you also have some options for some excellent sermons and other teaching notes as well. So that's the summary. The one that we had received today is absolutely amazing, very good, very timely for our culture, and it turns out it made an excellent daily walk. Apologies again for the cicadas and for being late on the video, but I think that this was worth waiting for. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a look over at the website, ourwalkinchrist.com. We have some books and things coming over. We should have a new book announcement coming out pretty soon. And with that, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy your daily walk in our Lord.